Okay. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. We can pick up where we left off. Oh yes, thank you for responding so quickly. Now that leaves us the question of where to continue from here. If this third party killed all three victims, we have no idea who they were. Do we still believe he was after the vial from MN6?
Of course I do.
Then we must figure out its relation to the case. Is your client willing to testify?
We can ask him. Mr. Mendirez, you understand the importance of You understand the importance of MN6 to this current case?
Of course. You think I'm brain dead?
You told me you're innocent. If that's true, I need you to help me. We've reached the end of the road.
Look, just because you turned on Williamson doesn't make us friends. I still know you're a dirty snake who'd betray me at a second's notice.
You're hardly one to talk about betrayal.
Don't you judge me. You're crooked as they come. At least Gavin knew to stick with the people paying him.
If you don't want to trust me, that's fine. Right now, I'm your only lifeline. Take it or leave it.
Damn it to hell. You better not try anything. Fine then. Which murder do you want me to talk about?
Save the game. Oh. Jimmy's, Mr. Jameson.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, well. Jameson called me up, said he wanted to talk. We arranged to meet in the woods, where nobody would bother us. When I came, he showed me that photo of the bottle, the one from Luciano's case. He had the real thing someplace, but wouldn't say where. Porter showed up, chased me off. The rest is history.
Is this still part of the walkthrough?
Yeah.
I thought so. What did the photo mean to you?
What do you mean, what did it mean? It meant Jameson had the bottle.
The case was closed, but him having it was a threat.
Not to me. They found me not guilty, remember?
Maybe not to you, but somebody killed him and Miss Porter for it.
Who else but him might want them dead? Give me a break. Jameson and Porter were messing around with the Mafia. Porter's sister was shot for that very thing. They knew what they were getting into. But I didn't have anything to do with it. Got it?
Then why try to silence anybody?
Silence anybody? What the heck are you talking about?
You ordered the hit on Maya. You were going to kill Pearl. I'm not letting any of that go.
I knew this would happen. Think what you want, but I didn't order the hit on her. I couldn't give a darn about your stupid friend.
What? He's supposed to be the hardened mafia man, but he says stuff like darn and dag nabbit.
Dag nabbit.
Liar. Your own henchman ratted you out.
See? You'd made up your mind before you even signed up for the case. Isn't any wonder I never told you who I was. Let's give the suspect the benefit of the doubt, Phoenix Wright.
Francisca? This man tried to...
I'm aware of what he's accused of. That's why I'm a prosecutor. At least one of us needs to be the moral compass. If you won't do it, then I must. He obviously would know his underlings named him. How couldn't he? And that means there'd be no point in lying.
Maybe she's onto something. That doesn't happen often.
No.
I still can't bring myself to trust this guy. How am I supposed to take his word for that? Of course he'd lie. So will I find something to show he's full of it? Or end up proving that he's telling the truth?
Press all the statements.
Fucking sweet. That means we get to read all this again. Did you remember him from MN6?
Darn right I did. Man didn't know how to let it go.
Well, he was digging up an old murder trial with you as the suspect.
I couldn't care. I would never go to prison for Luciano, so it didn't matter to me.
Would it bother anyone else if you were caught talking to him?
It might. Nobody in the family liked Jameson. Nobody likes their business getting pried into. And we have plenty of skeletons to dig up, believe me.
Oh, I believe you on that. But do I believe the rest of it? That's the question. Why would you agree to meet him?
I thought we could work something out, maybe even get him on my side.
Would that ever be possible?
Chances didn't look good, but I knew we'd both benefit more by working together.
Why would Jimmy want to work with you?
We had a common interest. He was the one brought up the idea of a negotiation.
I mean, I've heard people talk like that before. I can let that one go. Huh? Really?
Could I make up something like that? You didn't think he came all the way out there just to show off a photo of a bottle, did you? He showed the picture to me and wanted to make a deal about it.
Why did he let you know he had it? Was it blackmail, anything like that?
Blackmail? It was just the opposite. He said he was going to help me, and that bottle was the key to it.
Jimmy spent a good chunk of his life pursuing you. Why would he want to help you?
It wasn't for me. He wanted to save the cook, Kushari. Is that what all this was about?
Really, dude?
Guess so. He must have thought he could still get him acquitted.
And the bottle would have done that?
The bottle and my cooperation. Too late to care about it now, since it all went to hell.
Is Mendirez making all this up? If he is, I can expose that lie, but if he isn't... The real one was back in Miss Porter's office.
Right, I guess, but there was no way of me knowing that then. Jameson wasn't stupid. He wasn't going to give up the location just like that.
Did he tell you he would if you cooperated?
Me? Why would he do that? I didn't need the bottle. He could keep it. Maybe be better. Maybe better
that way.
No, I was... No matter what. Why would you help him? I've been having troubles of my own. The family isn't responding as well as I'd like. I thought Jameson might be the answer to my prayers. I was just as surprised as anyone. Too bad for both of us that all got interrupted.
Why did you run?
I heard her scream and made a break for it. I thought they might be out for me. Can you really blame me? Who did you think was out for you? Anyone, all right. Look, I've made enemies on my way to the top. A lot of enemies. There are people who hate me that I'd rather not meet at night in the woods. And heck, that Jameson might have been with them.
The Rivales family? Are you that afraid of your own group?
Yes. You're here.
Something you can relate with?
Huh?
Is that all?
Yes, why?
I'm not entirely convinced, that's all.
Of course you aren't. What's it gonna take? You've had it in for me since the beginning. You and Williamson, Von Karma, everyone, this whole darn court.
There are still holes everywhere. Too much is unexplained. Why would he need to meet you? How are you going to help? Or for that matter, how was he going to help you? I think it's clear you're still holding something back. What is it?
I didn't do any of it.
Was that the point of this testimony? We went through all that just for this?
It's why we're here, isn't it? Me not killing anyone is the only statement that matters. Why would I want to help Jameson if he was a threat? He was a threat. That's why you murdered him. Yeah, well, why would I even meet with him in the first... To kill him. It wasn't me. It was someone else.
Somebody besides Mendirez who would want to kill Jimmy, and he denies everything that's happened. But who else could it be? Who gave the order to shoot Maya? We've only ever heard his name. Unless that was the point. I think I can prove it. Your Honor, the defendant is pleading innocent. It's brief and to the point, but I'd like it added to the testimony. He's right. It's the most central part of the case. I'll address that now.
Indeed. Witness, please amend your statement.
Now's the moment of truth. Everything's going to come out.
Present the letter to Mendirez at the 6th statement.
I didn't kill Jameson or order a cover-up of MN6. The letter to Mendirez, so
Letter
this...
to Mendirez.
You were given a note, and it's bothered me ever since seeing it. But now that I know who you really are, it bothers me in a whole new way. Why would a letter addressed from you with your seal be sent to you?
That's the one for my safe. I got it after I talked to Jameson about meeting him.
It's not the first time I've seen a note signed like this. Meredith Fay received another one threatening her and Pearl. Maya got several others, but you say you never sent anything of the sort.
And you believe him?
I do, in fact. There is another person posing as Francisco Mendirez.
Porter, Mr. Wright, what is your basis for this?
Mendirez had a letter in his safe, seemingly from himself. That line is still funny.
Mm-hmm.
It already doesn't make sense, but it just... I think we've made that joke too often.
Yeah.
Everywhere else we've seen this signature show up, it wouldn't make sense for him to author it. Threatening Meredith? Setting up Togamera? Why would he do that to people who had helped him?
Maybe they upset him?
Perhaps, but as it stands, we don't know anything. And that means there's no reason for us to think it. Maya's gotten several notes of her own which threaten her and Pearl. The big connection Meredith, Togamera, Pearl, and Mendirez all have is through MN6. Mendirez was already found not guilty, so he shouldn't try to silence them. But somebody else has been attacking and setting up Mendirez's allies. They're posing as him and using his name to send false messages and orders.
Is that why we've only seen him send messages through notes on the internet?
I'd say it is. This person's posing as the defendant and sabotaging his command of the family.
It makes sense. But why would they do it? Was it a past victim holding a grudge?
I don't think so. It all ties back to MN6 in the end. With 2 people killed for the bottle, somebody has a secret to hide. And they plan to frame my client for it all.
Very nicely thought out. But up till now, it's all just conjecture. If there was anything to hide about MN6, it would be over the identity of the...
Identify!
The identify of the killer.
So the lines are all still the same, they just replaced Obadiah with Von Karma.
Yep. But, as you said, why would it matter to him? Let's face it, Phoenix Wright, the only one with anything to hide is him.
What?
If MN6 is truly the crux as you claim, then that only makes him more guilty. This means that Obadiah Williamson's statement about the henchman must be true. In that case, the suspect is surely guilty. Well said, Miss Von Karma. Does the defense have a rebuttal? Always. Of course he doesn't. You can't fight the truth forever. Well, if the defense is going to make up an excuse, he'd better do it quick.
I know MN6 is the center to this whole story, but if it is, then Mendirez must truly be the killer. But it leaves so many more questions. That can't be it. Is there any other explanation for what happened? I have to come up with it. I need to think hard about this. This might be my last chance. Time for a train of thought!
I wonder.
That's what I've always called this. I don't know if it actually has a name.
Probably does.
If I'm gonna figure this out, I need to think about what made MN6 special. I like the term train of thought. It wasn't the murder itself. That was pretty run-of-the-mill. What made it noteworthy was how the Ravalos family wanted to influence the outcome. They had their hands dirty the whole way through, no doubt. But what part really stands out for their manipulation? Now I remember it. People went to great lengths to cover up MN6, even after the not guilty. Mendirez was home free, so that means there was something else that hadn't been revealed. Somebody on the inside told Trucy that. Who did we learn all that from? Fuck, I don't remember.
It was from...
It was either Togamera or Parker.
Probably Togi.
Togamera told us. He admitted he was in on it from the beginning. It fits with everything Williamson mentioned, so despite what Togamera did, I think I can believe this from him. Trucy learned some other things, too. There was one other strange thing about MN6, another result of the Rivales family. What was unique about their influence of the case? There wasn't an autopsy. That's right, they didn't have an autopsy report for the trial. In fact, they didn't get one until a long time after the case. They made sure nobody got a close look until after it would have made a difference. That is, until Dr. Dreisen examined the body several months later. Why would they bother? What sense would it make? They still needed to hide something, to hide some fact, but about what? What was the big secret about? The victim.
Well,
The big reason to stall an autopsy is if there was something off about the corpse. Something you don't want people to know. But what would that be? Williamson thought it was to help Mendirez, but was that really it? No, it wouldn't be to protect him, not after the verdict. But it was to protect somebody. Somebody still had a secret they didn't want told. Who was it? Who would they delay the autopsy for, and why?
Carlo Luciano. Lucci, baby, he never died.
Okay. Carlo Luciano never died. There was no murder. They prevented the autopsy to hide the fact that they'd switched the bodies. And that means he's still out there somewhere. There was no murder.
I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm sure I misheard you.
No, you heard right. Luciano's still alive, and if he faked his death...
He would have every reason to kill Stephen Jameson and Gladys Porter. How can that be? He was dead at the scene.
The family made sure the investigation didn't proceed as planned, especially in regards to the body. They never got an autopsy.
They did. It was a while later, but they did. There was a dead body from the crime scene. It had to be Carlo Luciano.
It was another man's corpse that they swapped, a look-alike. Luciano played dead for Mr. Kushari, then when Togamera came, they brought in the real victim. Salim Kushari swore he never saw any blood around Luciano, and that's because he didn't take the poison. Then they continued to block the autopsy to prevent the truth from coming out. Mendirez and Togamera helped Luciano cover up the fact that he was still alive.
No. Witness, is this true? If it is, then you know why I can't say yes.
Luciano already has it in for you. Who do you think set you up? Williamson did his own part, but the original reason you're here is because Jimmy got killed. He's the one who's been toying with your allies, making them turn against you. We've arrested 3 people who worked for you, and they all directly named you. You knew you were being framed, and you knew who it was, too. Now I'm naming the guy responsible. Am I right, or aren't I? Where is Luciano, Mendirez? Where is he now?
You're working for him, aren't you?
Huh?
Oh, this is new.
Yeah.
Who do you think? You and Williamson. Yeah, you and Williamson helped him set this up.
Why would you think that?
Why? You're a no-good, backstabbing snake. That's why. Williamson just told me you were planning it from the start. That's why you're always dragging Luciano back into the mix. You just want to have me rat out his identity so that he has even more excuse to do me in.
You're already on his cutting block. Haven't you figured it out yet?
Of course I have, but I'm not gonna make it worse.
You're being irrational.
Shut it. I won't hand you the rope to hang me on. Karma's like, what the fuck? It may as well be a confession, but we won't get any more from the defendant. Does the defense believe Luciano is the culprit to all 3 crimes?
Yes, I do.
Snap that whip. Then he must have had an opportunity for each. But that could be anybody.
Not when we limit it to only people related to MN6. There weren't just 3 crimes, remember? There were 4. Technically 5.
Yeah. So you're right. Somebody else involved with MN6 who we might not have ever suspected. Somebody who would be capable of committing the other 3 murders. Who might fit the description for our suspect?
By the way, absolutely would not have picked Dreisen. This
Well,
isn't like a Persona 4 ending thing. where there were signs. There were no signs for this.
I mean, the most we got was Dryson was the first to report on Cody. Dryson was the one who handled the autopsy months late.
Yeah, and Dryson was the one who told Trucy some stuff about...
Yeah. It's very subtle. Ruffalo did good with that.
Also, that would have taken half of our bar?
Yeah.
Jesus!
Yeah, well, we're at the end game, buddy.
The court remembers Morton Dryson? He was the coroner who autopsied Luciano.
Who? Oh, the police coroner? Oh, yes, he testified for us earlier. I don't remember.
Dryson was involved with MN6 and could potentially have been at any one of the crimes.
He wrote the autopsy, but he may not have known if the bodies were changed.
The family held off the autopsy until he showed up. They trusted him to get it done, when they didn't with anyone else. Or maybe you want to... When they didn't with anyone else. I just screwed that up. Or maybe you want to say that this is a coincidence, too.
You realize how absurd this sounds?
It does, doesn't it? But at the same time, it makes so much sense.
Bailiff, bring him here at once. We will question him and determine the legitimacy of the defense's claims.
Yes, Madam Prosecutor.
Phoenix Wright, I hope you're wrong, but the logic is sound.
Really?
If he is really Luciano, we will see an end to this madness.
Is the logic sound?
The logic is very sound.
Literally, all I said was, he could have done it.
It is
sweet
very
logic.
sound.
This doesn't seem like a bad end.
Oh?
No, this seems like a legitimate thing where frickin' Obadiah goes to the dark side, but still.
Doctor, you were why you're brought here? You know why you're here, motherfucker? You did the dirt.
Shut up! You ask me a question, then don't let me talk. What the hell is wrong with you? I must say I haven't the faintest, sir. Was there an error with one of my reports?
Well, not quite. You murdered somebody.
You murdered 4 people.
You murdered a whole lot more than that, but you're only being tried for, like, 3 right now. We'll add another one later. Mr. Wright, I will leave the witness to you. He scares me.
Doctor, we believe that Carlo Luciano might be responsible for these killings. Do you have any idea how that might have been possible? My, what a strange thought! Don't you think that'd be a bit outlandish? A cadaver could hardly have murdered anyone. Exactly. Luciano's not dead. Aha! So that's why you brought me forth, is it? You think I made some mistake with the corpse, and so you wish for me to confirm? In a manner of speaking. Well, surely there couldn't be more, unless... you think I am the killer? But let us realize, sir, this would be even more baseless than before. An absolutely baseless claim would never come from you, I'm sure.
I've had many baseless claims.
I've built cases on baseless claims.
So don't you tell me how to do my job.
Ah, and so it is. Well, if I must, I will do my best to clear this filthy accusation.
Oh,
I'm lightheaded as shit.
But that filth will never go away.
What's this? You think Carlo Luciano is still alive? Well, that is simply unthinkable. I wrote the autopsy myself. Yes, I was delayed in performing it, but the specimen remained in police custody the whole time. And to say that I might be Luciano, simply mind-boggling. Preposterous. Yes, Luciano was dead, quite dead, and still is too, if I'm not mistaken. Is this where Trucy comes in?
Yeah.
You didn't actually say anything to prove your point. I do not have to, sir. It is you with whom the burden of proof lies. Am I not right, Madam Prosecutor? It would be the accuser's responsibility.
Technically, yes.
Are you that delayed?
Nah, I was looking somewhere else.
Alright. He didn't give me anything to argue against. The testimony's too vague.
Make it work. It's what we have. The idea of him being Luciano was shaky to begin with.
And not a hint of proof beyond some abstract logic. I've said my part and I leave the rest up to you.
Do you really think he's that assassin?
I'm not sure. How can I even say?
Don't give up. Professor Ryder, you might not have anything to go off of, but I might still be able to help. Let me take the reins for a while again, and I'll see if he slips up anywhere.
Not much choice right now. You did good before. Show me what you've got.
Won't let you down.
You're more useful than Apollo.
Perceive and to say that I might be Luciano.
I figured as much.
And look for that eyeball.
What does the other eye look like?
It's fucking gone, mate. Don't have one. See? I would assume either eye would work.
Yeah, I know. It's just freaky looking.
I know. Doctor! Give me the news. You only have one eye.
Not quite the story I was expecting. Pardon me, but how rude!
Rude? We're looking for a one-eyed man. Those big old goggles on your head are usually too foggy to see through. But at just the right angle. That's why you fiddle with them when you get nervous. You want to hide it. You're the man we're looking for. Is it true? The witness only has one eye? That's a crime now. I saw it. Behind his glasses. They're foggier than Gourd Lake, but I could see it.
You cut out.
One of them's been scratched out. What,
okay. Oh, you're back.
Yeah.
The one-eyed man?
Luciano. He only had one eye.
Jehoshaphat! What a far-fetched idea! I got to say that shit again.
You get to say that shit again.
Oh, this is no good. How simply dreadful. It seems as though you think you can pin me as Luciano, but with my eye? I must say, sir, that it's frankly horrifying how off the mark you are. Oh no, that simply won't do. You're not Morton Dryson. He's my grandfather. You're Carlo Luciano, the assassin supposedly killed during MN6.
He's my queen.
He's the only other person remotely connected to this case who would only have one eye. Rude! It's not kind to harass others for their deformities. I'll tell you that the condition of my face is only passingly related to Luciano's. This was a gift to me from Mr. Mendirez himself. After I wrote the report for Luciano's body, he gave it to me. A reminder that I should keep my mouth shut. He took the eye to show that he would always be watching me. You're Luciano, and you killed our 3 victims. Oh, come now, I don't see why I would have any reason to do that. But before we even get to there, let's ask the question everyone's really thinking. Since you insist, how did Luciano survive? How? Jumping right into the meat of it. Yes, how? A witness saw his dead body. The prosecutor saw it. And don't suggest an antidote. Not a single drop of counteracting agent was found in his bloodstream. Yeah. You didn't need an antidote. I don't think you took the poison at all. Well, you'll find you've hit a wall, sadly. Because poison is one thing his body was chock full of. You, Madam Prosecutor, it sounds like you reviewed the investigation. Tell me, am I lying?
I didn't review anything. No, the victim ingested enough poison to kill a horse.
Nobody ever claimed to see the poison being placed in his meal. Both Kushari and Mendirez accused the other of having put it in while he couldn't see. All we know is a body was found and the testimonies were inconsistent. I fail to see your point, sir. If they found a body, then there was a victim. It doesn't indicate Luciano never died. I think if you consider MN6, you'll find a lot pointing to it. For instance, there was some more confusion around the state of the supposed corpse. Were you aware that not everyone saw blood around him?
What? What are you talking about?
Mr. Kushari didn't see blood because Luciano didn't vomit it up. He never ingested the poison. That wasn't Luciano's body they found. It looked like him, but it wasn't him. He faked his death to get Kushari's attention, then later went into hiding and they swapped his body out for a look-alike.
The opening is there, but the explanation is wanting. How would such an act be possible? He would need to fool everybody.
It wouldn't be hard at all, stupid. Especially not with help from his accomplice.
Togi.
Yeah. Both Togamera and Mendirez were planning to help. Were there to help him. They weren't planning to, they were there. Mendirez lied about the murder and Togamera swapped the bodies. We got a confession from Togamera that he convinced Mr. Kushari to hold the forged bottle. We know he was in on the whole plan. A spectacular hypothesis, if I might say so. But it seems to me that it simply does not make sense. Okay?
What does it? What?
She said it doesn't?
It doesn't?
Now, don't get me wrong, taken on its own it seems that might work. Perhaps it is indeed possible Luciano's managed to survive and I observed a fake. But where does that leave us? MN6 was a trial for murder 5 years ago. Mendirez was already cleared for it. You have now 3 new cases for which he is under suspicion. Now Luciano, why must he have anything to do with them, pray tell? He needed to cover up the fact that he was still alive. Not so, I'm afraid. You see, I think it's quite clear the facts point to Mendirez. Now, theorizing that he is innocent, the evidence being strongly against him, it would have to be a setup. Oh. Ah, yes, you see it now. Herein lies the folly of your logic, my dear attorney. It looks as though our game is afoot, Mr. Wright.
I'm not your dear.
Hypothetically speaking, say I am Luciano. Even then, why assume he'd be the killer? Mendirez spared his life once, you say. In that case, they must be cohorts. But if Luciano killed the recent subjects, he must be setting up Mendirez, no? There would be no reason to betray him, no reason at all. So why believe it? No, it was Mendirez himself. Everything points to him.
Well, I suppose, given what we know, that wouldn't make much sense, would it?
Yes, indeed, Your Honor, yes, indeed. I'd speculate he'd be forever indebted to a man who saved him from Revali's wrath. But of course, the entire story must depend on Luciano being alive in the first place. Thus, you see, the defense's position creates even more problems than before. Who but Luciano would need to cover up the truth behind MN6? Who but you, Dryson? I guess would be more appropriate. You are the one making an unfounded accusation, not me. Does the court not have protections for witnesses against such treatment?
Well, the defense must admit that it sounds crazy. Can you prove that Luciano survived and is framing the defendant?
Without a doubt, Your Honor. Or maybe just a small one. Ah, but if you can't, then this was all for naught. If you don't have the proper evidence, I recommend we drop the whole ordeal.
Perhaps.
Half again.
If you fuck up, you're going to have 50 lashings from Miss Von Karma's whip.
As opposed to what? If I get it right, I'm going to.
In any case, I believe we should make certain we're on the right track. Let's not allow the trial to get off course at this point.
Understood, Your Honor. I can't let him win. If I screw this up, he'll get away for good. And who knows what'll happen to the rest of us.